Hey, everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the 1986 classic. So, lick your palms, make them clammy, and get ready for the show.
Welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. I am Christina.
And I'm Brian, and we're talking about Ferris Bueller from our Zoom social distancing way of life. And we hope this finds everyone well and healthy and staying home. Christina, 1986, Ferris Bueller. When was the first time you saw this movie?
I saw it in the movies.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember specifically because of the ending, like the very ending. Okay. And I remember sitting and if you remember correctly, at the very, very ending, after the credits are rolled, you see him like coming out of the bathroom and he's like, "What are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
Leave. It's over." And I remember watching the credits because it was a funny scene anyway. I liked watching the credits anyway. But I remember just being like super thrilled about seeing him again. And I loved it. I thought it was so cute at the end. So I remember I was with my boyfriend at the time watching it.
Oh.
And yeah, I loved it. There you go. End of podcast.
Yeah, the credits are interesting with the principal on the bus and all that. So it keeps you watching for sure.
Yeah.
So 86, I was 13, 14, but 14, I guess. And I liked it. I did not love it. This is then. And I kind of thought Ferris Bueller was an pretty awful person. And when we talked about revisiting this, when we talk about revisiting things, we never say how we felt about them. It's always very fresh. So when we agreed on Ferris Bueller, I was like, oh God, I feel like it might be a chore for me because when you think about this movie and you think about the funniest parts of this movie, I would argue that none of them involve Ferris Bueller. Mm-hmm. But he's the lead. But I don't think he has much, including the three of them. I don't think they have. I'm talking even then. I don't think they necessarily have funny things to do or funny things to say. Maybe a couple lines from Ferris in the beginning.
Sure.
But for the most part, he's kind of smug.
Right. He's kind of like that guy that sort of like that popular guy that you kind of want to be friends with in a way, because he's like smart and witty and at least back then.
Yeah, I disagree. Wasn't interested. But I did like a lot of the supporting stuff. But I remember kind of rooting for the sister, Jennifer Grey. So it was interesting to revisit this now. Do you want to jump into immediate now? So you watched it with your daughter.
I did. Oh my gosh. So as many of you already know, Emily is not a big fan of movies, which I just don't even understand how that happens. But she's not a big fan of movies. So getting her to watch a movie is always a challenge. And so this one, I think I like threatened her or something. I don't even know. But I was like, look, this is a fun movie. It's great. It's funny. Everyone loves it, except for Brian, apparently. And you're going to love it. And I really want you to watch it. And, I kind of gave her a mom guilt trip to watch it. And I was like, look, we watch everything that you want to watch. We always watch it without complaining and blah, 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 blah. So she finally decided to watch it. And she actually really liked it, which I was so thrilled. That never happens. Because even when I make her watch a movie, she's just like, I hated it. Like, even if she liked it.
I see.
She actually agreed that it was a funny movie, and we laughed through it. And we watched it as a family. We actually watched it last night. And so while I was watching it, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but it was funny. I enjoyed it for different reasons.
Okay.
which is not surprising. So when I watched it as a 18-year-old or whatever, I appreciated it. I appreciated the child against the school kind of vibe, and of course I'm rooting for him. And I mean, even back then I knew how unrealistic it was that he's doing all of these things, for on a high schooler's salary, right? No money, no, this would have taken a week to do all of these things in terms of time and all that stuff. So even back then I knew it was kind of an impossible thing. But watching it now, I kind of gave them a pass for it. I'm like, you know what? Who cares? It's like a fun movie, and they're doing fun things. And of course, like the bulk of it is kind of an impossible thing to do, and that's sort of the fun part of the movie. It's a fantasy. I'm seeing some expressions on Brian's face that
Christina,
I'm glad we're zooming this.
I hear you, and you're wrong. Your feelings, your opinions, your recap of that movie is completely wrong. Here, let's talk about their fun day off. They went to a museum. They went to a bougie, fancy restaurant that didn't even want them there. Super fun. They went to the Sears Tower, right? They went to the tower.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
They
started there.
They went to a baseball game and sat in, I guess.
They went to the stock exchange at some point.
Right. What a fun day. What a fun day off.
I think
this is the whitest, I wrote this, the whitest, bougiest day off I've ever seen. For a bunch of teenagers, this is not good. It's like, put them, you know what it is? I think about a movie and it is different, but it's like Adventures in Babysitting. Like, give these kids an adventure. This day off is so lame. Like, and now that I can watch it, now that I'm watching it as an adult, I could identify what I couldn't verbalize when I was 14 years old. Is that like, oh my God, this is a boring day. Like, if you're skipping school, there's an element of danger. And I feel like that, first of all, they don't really know the danger because they don't know the principal's hot on their tail. But the dad keeps popping up, and I guess that's scary. But yeah, I mean, they just could have had a much better day off. This I found was a pretty lame way to spend a day.
Well, so I think that they're doing things that they aren't necessarily able to do. And I think that that's what made it fun. They're not going to do things that they normally do. They're not going to go to the beach or whatever, play basketball or whatever you're going to do, watch cartoons that a kid would normally do. They're doing things that they don't normally have the opportunity to do. They want to live like in this like adult world for a day. They basically steal this car. They go into the city. These are things that they don't normally do. They probably don't have the permission of the parents to do. They go to a fancy restaurant. They don't usually do that because probably they can't afford it. Why they can now, I'm not sure. But think about it. They're all like kind of adult things. It's the stock exchange, the museum. Why a parade is happening in the middle of the afternoon in Chicago, that's another whole story, but it was fun, whatever. Again, I just kind of like whatever it is. This is what the day was. Even like the baseball game, I mean, it may be something that they would like to do, but they would go with their parents. They wouldn't go by themselves. So for me, it was more of a day off to experience things that they don't normally experience.
They should have thrown in a doctor's appointment in there. With that recap, Christina, and your reasoning,
I think
reasoning, Christina, I think why stop there? They should have had a dentist appointment. They could have gotten all their.
I think you're forgetting what it was like to be a kid. So you've been an adult so long.
You've been one even longer.
Incredibly long.
You've been an adult even longer, Christina.
But you have forgotten what it is like to be in high school. Like when in high school, you don't want to do the kid stuff. You want to do the things that adults do. You're forgetting that. You forgot
You don't
that,
know what I'm forgetting.
no, you are, I totally forget. You totally forget what it was like to be a kid, especially in high school. And, you know, you want to be an adult. You want to be an adult. Don't you remember that? Do you? Do you? Did you
No,
get
in
there
fact,
now? Big time.
I mean, you
No
mentioned the
offense.
beach, and I was like, that's probably what they should have done. You could have
That's
like
what they can do every day. They probably do that every weekend.
drunk.
Drunk.
They
What were
could
they
have
drunk?
like got some booze, gone to the
Oh,
beach.
please.
They
And
could
then
have
what?
like
Then what are we watching? Porky's? Like, come on.
could have had some fun or adventure. They could have gone to do like, I don't know, put these kids in an adventure. This was so boring. And
No,
like,
it was fun because they put the kids in adult situations. That's why it was fun.
in your opinion,
Yes.
and in my opinion, um,
So
that
you
is
like the cranky big sister who's all she wants to do is like get him in trouble. That's who you like. That's your
100%.
favorite. Did you like
100%.
Principal Rooney too?
No, not really. He was very intense.
Surprise.
But I thought, but like for Ferris to break into the computer system, lessen his number of missed days. He's lying to his parents. He's just like not like, I mean, he's not like, also in
He's
the beginning,
mischievous.
sure.
He's mischievous.
In the beginning, it's like he is playing the saxophone, I guess, poorly. Is that a saxophone? Whatever instrument that was? What was it?
Yes, it was a saxophone.
Dancing to the I Dream of Jeannie music, sure. And then he was like making coughing sounds in his computer and then calling people on the payphone at school, or they were calling him. I mean, like, oh, wow. I was just like, I was really open-minded. I really tried to be like this is going to be a fun movie. And it really kind of, oh my God. We didn't even talk about the very beginning when he's like, okay, pumpkin.
Oh my gosh. Matt and Emily and I were all like cracking up laughing about that. Because it's so over the top. It's like so ridiculously over the top funny.
Some would say unbelievable is another word I would use. But you know what
though? The whole thing is unbelievable. The entire day is unbelievable. So you have to like buy into it. This isn't a documentary.
I think going to a museum is a pretty believable thing. Almost never mind. So then you have all the baby talk, the pumpkin, the me, and like.
But then it was like driving the sister crazy. Like I thought it was funny. I thought it was really funny.
Okay. I laughed all over again with the Bueller, and when he's like Anderson, and the kid's like here. Like
you notice who that was? The kid in the back?
Well, there's the kid from Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. The kid in the back.
Okay, yeah.
And then Christy Swanson, right?
Yeah, because she was the one who was like, my best friend's sister's brother's girlfriend told this guy who knows this kid who saw Ferris pass out at 31 flavors. Yeah, and that's still pretty funny. But again, the funny parts that I remembered and parts I still find funny now have nothing to do with that trio that is taking this, in your words, great day off.
I'm glad you're quoting me.
I still laughed at the drool on the desk. It's so gross, but I laughed.
So gross.
Let's see. And yeah, I don't know. I just wrote a couple of times I wrote sloppy, obnoxious. A big thing for me is, and we're just jumping all around, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Cameron?
So Cameron, to me, I never really liked him that much in the beginning, when I first watched it. And this is going to be a source of controversy. I can feel it already, just by the look on your face. Cameron was my favorite character this time around. I felt like he was the funniest, like in terms of like acting. I thought he had the most growth. I almost feel like, what happened? Oh my God, look.
Your phone was slipping.
Your phone was slipping down. It was like all of a sudden it was like you were walking in an elevator going down. I thought he had the most growth in the whole movie. And I really feel like the story could have centered more on him. Like I felt like the story could have had a better, oh my God, I don't even know, better focus if it was like, oh, this is Cameron's story. Do you know what I mean? I thought he was great. I laughed the second you see him like laying in bed, super sick. I laughed at that. I laughed at the conversations. I did back then and now, I still don't like the way that Ferris treats him because I feel like he's like really like a bully, but it also makes a little sense near the end when, you know, you realize that like, he really did sort of need to be pushed and, you know, he had so much growth from that day and realizing that, you know, he does need to stand up for himself or blah, 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 and like fix this relationship that he has with his parents or mostly his father, but he doesn't really talk about his mother either, aside from saying that she's away and he's happy about it. But I thought
and Ferris says his mom, he mentioned something about sickness too, right? And that Ferris mentioned Cameron's mom. I'm trying to remember. It was a context about about Cameron being sick all the time. And I couldn't remember the exact quote, but it was one little throwaway line that gave you insight into his mom.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed Cameron so much this time around. Whereas before I felt like he was kind of annoying and I'm kind of like, oh, like he's such a lump. But I really enjoyed him last night. I loved him last night. And I really appreciated the actor a lot. Mm-hmm. And even just like the very end when he has like that nice calm smile on his face, I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's so sweet.
So I watched this yesterday also. And I looked up, so Alan Ruck is his name, I believe. And he was 29 when he made this movie. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't understand Cameron's like issue, and then I found myself not really caring what his issue was. Mm-hmm. And then to the scene where at the car and he's like really that emotional scene.
Yeah.
It sort of came out of nowhere, and I don't know. I feel like that tone, the whole tone changed, and I just didn't know like if it was felt true to the movie. I was like, this feels like a little after school special-y.
It was, I remember when I first saw it, not loving that scene either. Like, it was like, oh, wait, we were having such a good time.
Uncomfortable.
And now, what is happening? But I appreciated it a little bit more now. I did appreciate it a little bit more. And I think that it really just, all this stuff has been sort of building up. And then it sort of gets to that head where they can't fix what they did, and he is going to have to face his father with the mileage. And I think that's like kind of like a reaction to the emotions that he's feeling for like, oh, I'm going to have to stick up for myself. I'm going to have to stand up to my father. And it's all sort of boiling. And that like is and then of course he's taking it out on the car because this father loves the car more than him. And
yes,
you know, it made sense more watching it last night. And then of course it going through the window, I'm like, holy crap.
I did like that
I liked it better now, but at the same time I'm like, oh my God, like as a parent, like if that ever happened and my child ever did that, like, oh my God,
yeah,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Let's see, so you mentioned that Ferris was a bully to Cameron, but he also wasn't super nice to Sloane either. There's that scene where they're in the Sears Tower and she's like, everything looks so peaceful, which I don't know what her accent's about. Like, maybe it doesn't matter, but
yeah,
it seemed like she had an accent sometimes, and other times she didn't. And not that, again, it doesn't matter, but like, it was odd.
She was probably my least favorite character in the whole movie, even then and now. Like, I didn't feel like it was that necessary, aside from that it just added a little bit of a different dynamic.
Yeah. Well, she says when she's in the tower, she's like, everything looks so peaceful from so high up. And no, I'm sorry. She says everything's so peaceful, and Ferris says everything looks peaceful from 1,300 feet. I'm like, such an asshole. Like, let her enjoy the moment. I don't know. So I wrote some other little Ferris moments. He reminds Cameron, he's like, well, you did screw up the call though, right?
Right.
Yeah. The Ferrari.
That's like sort of like that bullying kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
He consistently lets go of the wheel while driving just to scare Cameron. Awful. Christina, you didn't mention the seatbelts or the lack of seatbelts. Did you notice that?
No, yeah, I did notice that. And he's sitting up like on the seat and everything. Like, yeah, a little unsafe.
And then he makes a scene in the fancy restaurant. And then he's at the end, he's running through a yard. And there's those two women sitting on the lounge chairs. And he like stops, introduces himself.
Which I thought was odd. Yeah, sorry.
Although he loves Sloane, he's ready to marry her.
Right.
And what else? Oh, I didn't like the batter, swing batter. Oh my God. Like,
yeah.
There's an obnoxiousness that I just could not support.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say something really positive. The things that I liked, I loved Jennifer Grey in this. I loved Edie McClurg.
Oh my gosh, she was probably my favorite. I think she was my favorite actress in this whole movie.
Edie,
yeah.
Yeah, when she says, "Hi, Jeannie, who's bothering you now?"
Yeah. And then she leaves and she's like, "Oh, what a little asshole." She said a few things. It. And like just her little one-liners when what'd she say? They were on the phone with he goes, "Oh, now Ferris is bringing Sloane Peterson in it." And she goes, "And her grandmother too." So funny.
Well, he's like, "I don't trust him as far as I could him." And she's like, "Well, with your bad knee, Ed, you shouldn't be throwing anyone."
So good.
Oh, she's funny. She's so good.
Great lines. And even just her acting in the background of the scenes. I mean, my eyes were drawn to her. Like just her picking out all the pencils.
The pencils. Yeah.
Just all these like little things that she did in the background. So good.
I thought it was effective when the movie did. I like this when they would do like the horror music. Like, so Ferris.
Oh, I have that down. The music choices were great.
And then the mother visits Ferris. Like, she checks in on him. And there's that horror movie music. Oh my God. I thought that was really fun.
It was perfect. And you know what was so interesting is watching Emily during that, because she had absolutely no idea what was going to happen. She does not like surprises. She had no idea, like any of it. It was so nice to see it with her fresh eyes, because obviously we have seen it. We know what's going to happen. There's no big surprise. But just watching her, like, thinking that he's going to get in trouble. And, I mean, they did that really well several times, thinking that he is going to get busted. And I love that the music was so effective. And just watching Emily watching it, she was, like, nervous. She's like, oh, my God. Because even before we were even talking about, when we were talking about watching the movie, she's like, does he get caught? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you that. And she's like, I want to know. She goes, I'm not going to watch it unless you tell me that he's going to. I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell you if he gets caught or not. That defeats the whole purpose. And and then that I had to lay on the mom guilt about the movie. But it was so good that she didn't know if he was going to get caught. And watching
and it sounded like she was happy with how it all ended.
She was very happy. Yeah, she was very happy with it. And she's a little young for the audience too.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
So she still appreciated it, which was great.
I was going to say you talked a little bit about that, a little unrealistic with the parade, especially because there was little kids in the parade. I'm like, what time is this parade going on at?
Yeah. The whole the timeline, really, it bothered me then, bothered me now. With all
kids in the school bus at 6:00 at night.
Right.
Like, it was after 6, and there's a bunch of kids in the school bus that picks up the principal. Like, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, the timeline was very, very off. You had to really be forgiving with that sort of thing.
Yes.
And just, the money part was a problem. Like, how do you have all this money to go into museums and going into this fancy restaurant and going to a baseball game and, all these different things? Like, how do you do that? But what was I going to say? Yeah, I did like Jennifer Grey. I thought she was really funny. And I didn't think she was that funny when I first watched it. I thought she was just annoying. So it was probably more, I was on Ferris's side the whole, all in when I watched it when I was younger. And she was just such a jerk. Charlie Sheen being in it was funny. And that whole, hooking up with her. was really funny.
So the trivia on that is he was very, I guess, a little method then, and he really wanted to look strung out. He stayed awake for 2 days before they filmed that scene.
Wow, that should have been a red flag right there.
But that scene of Charlie Sheen, I loved when she's like, oh my God, Jennifer Grey's so good in that scene when she's like, why don't you go put your thumb up your butt? And then she's like, blow yourself. Like, she's just so angry.
She's so good. She's so angry. She's so good. And then, and then she turns into like this giddy little teenager.
I love that too, though.
It reminded me so much of Baby. It reminded me a lot of Baby.
I was confused that she wouldn't know what the principal looks like.
That was weird too. And the only thing I chalked that up to was that she didn't get a chance to see him. You know what I mean? Like she jumped out, he jumped out, and she kicks. That was made me laugh, by the way. Like, all of us were busting out laughing at that one. But I don't think that she saw him close enough. And she's not going to, she would never think that her principal is going to be in her house anyway.
True. It's
not something that she would even put together. But it was nice. What was a little confusing was what made her. It was weird at the end when she is trying to get home to bust him, and then she saves him for no reason whatsoever. Like, what made her change her mind? If it was Charlie Sheen and his character, then why would she try to race him home? Do you know what I mean? Like, you almost feel like Charlie Sheen's character loosened her up a little bit, and maybe, that was it. But that wasn't it. Because she sees him, and she's like, I got to get home before him. So, and they have that evil look to each other, and then they're like, and the next thing you know, she's opening the door to save him.
Why didn't she just say, Mom, Ferris is right there?
Yeah.
I mean, that didn't make much sense to me. I did think after Charlie Sheen, after she made it with him, she was like, oh, I guess I can do bad things too.
Yeah.
And, to that point, but then you're right. Then she sees him in the car and she's like, oh, I'm going to totally bust him. But then she finds the wallet on the floor of the principal. It's not super clear why she has this change of heart.
Yeah. Unless she's just feeling like she likes Ferris more than she likes, the principal.
Mm-hmm.
She'd rather bust him, the principal, than Ferris. I don't know. It was weird though. I was like, what? Why would she bother to save him?
Do you know that Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey were engaged before they started making this movie?
I did not. I knew they dated.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Before the movie was released. Sorry.
I knew they dated. I didn't know that they'd ever been engaged.
They were engaged before the movie was released, and there was that awful car accident in Ireland.
Yes.
Yeah. Which people can Google. The mom and dad actors, they met on the set and they got married after the movie.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute.
They make a cute couple.
They make a really cute couple.
I like the mother.
He reminded me so much of Alan Thicke, but it wasn't him, obviously. But
right. And I liked him a lot. And I liked the mother too, because she was just balanced and warm enough where you'd believe she'd baby Ferris and be mad at the daughter. It felt that felt convincing to me.
Definitely. But it was nice to see her that she had a nice profession. You don't really see that much in 80s movies with the moms.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. What else? I actually don't have too many notes. I hated that he bludgeoned the dog with a planter, but I was glad the dog snapped back and attacked him.
I didn't even, so right now, I never even thought that that's what he did. I thought that the dog ate the plants and got sick from it.
No, he had the,
it makes more sense now.
It was a broken...
It makes more sense now. No, I'm like, that was one part. I'm like, so he just ate the plants and got sick? But
he hit the dog. He hit the dog with the planter.
I'm glad that dog got him.
Yeah. What else?
Let's take a quick break. You want to take a quick break, and then we can, because I want to look at my notes and see if there's anything else, and we can do sort of some final thoughts and do our questions.
Sounds good.
All right. So we'll
be back.
Right back. And we're back.
And we're back.
Talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We have differing opinions, which, I have to say, doesn't happen as often as I expect it to.
No, I know.
I do feel like it's somewhat rare that we disagree. But when we do, I'm usually right.
It's so evil.
So funny. So do you have any other final thoughts about Ferris Bueller and his fantastic day off?
So, did you like Matthew Broderick in this?
I did. I liked him as the character.
So second choice, but a lot of people that were involved in the production wanted John Hughes for this.
I could see it. I think he would have I don't think he is as lovable.
Oh my God, we're disagreeing so bad.
I
was exactly gonna say, I think John Cusack would have been much more likable.
Oh my God,
than Matthew Broderick.
What is going on with us? Too much isolation, I think. Well, I think with John, I feel like John's characters are a little more deep. And I don't think that would have, I don't know, I don't think that would have been great for this kind of movie because it's so, kind of light and airy. I don't know, just my opinion, just my correct opinion. So I do have a couple things to add. Well, one scene that I do need to mention that I hated then and I hated now. So that'll make you happy.
All right.
When he picks up Sloane from school and they kiss passionately, it's so against everything that he's been doing. Like he has gone above and beyond, right? With all of his electronics and all of these, the doorbell set up and all these fake phone calls and different machine, even, the funeral home message, all of these different things that he's gone through, right? And now he's picking up Sloane and he's going to make out with her. That doesn't make any sense. Why would he ever do that? And Rooney is suspicious this whole time, calling a million different numbers, calling all these different things, super suspicious, and he doesn't think that's suspicious. Mm-hmm. It was weird. I don't think they should have done that.
Well, especially the little thing where he slaps the phone out of Cameron's hands, well, now he's going to be there, and to your point,
nervous about that.
Yeah, so it's why would you do that? Why would you spend a second longer why would you even get out of the car?
There's no need for him to get out of the car.
Yeah.
Why would he be the one that's driving? He is the one that's calling in sick. Cameron, it seems like he's out sick all the time anyway. They would never suspect that he would be phoning it in. Because, and also because Cameron's the one that did the voice, so he should, if anything, should be picking up. That whole scene should have been reworked.
Yeah, just in case Rooney starts talking to the dad. At least the voices will match.
How did they know he wasn't going to walk up to the car?
Right? Very problematic.
Because he said he wanted to talk to him anyway. So it was a little strange.
I agree.
Brian, you were just frozen for a second. I wonder how that's going to be. It was it wasn't a terrible.
You've frozen a couple times, but I think it's going to be okay.
It'll be fine. It is what it is.
The audio wouldn't be. Were you talking just the video is frozen, but sound wasn't frozen?
The video was frozen, and the audio wasn't terrible. It was kind of like a hiccup a little bit, but not. It wasn't like a frozen voice. And then the other one I just wanted to say was at the end when he walks on the school bus and sits next to that girl, the random
the warm gummy bears.
She says, "I bet you never smelled a real school bus before." It just made me laugh. What a random line.
Well, I love the gummy bears thing too. She's they've been in my pocket. They're nice and warm.
I love those little. That was so gross. And then, but I love all those little things that he looks up and it says Rooney eats it. Little things like that just made me chuckle throughout the whole movie. So, anyways, I guess that's that. Do you want to do questions?
So, did you like it more, the same, or less than before?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think I liked it more I liked it a lot then. I think I liked it more for different reasons. I appreciated for really two main reasons. I appreciated Cameron's character so much more, and I really loved his characters and his scenes this time around. And I was also able to let go some of the things that bothered me last time about like not having the time frame for one thing and not having enough money. I was able to just sort of like let that go and enjoy the movie. So I think I enjoyed it a little bit more for those two reasons.
Yeah, definitely less for me. I liked it to begin with in the past then, but now it's like even less. It's just I don't know. It's not a very interesting, exciting movie for me. But I do have a question.
Okay, and I want it as well.
Okay, and it's an FMK.
Okay.
Fuck, Marry, Kill. And Ferris, Cameron, and the druggie, Charlie Sheen. All right.
So I do have my answer. Do you have what you think I would say?
Yes.
I think I'm going to surprise you.
Okay.
I think I would marry Cameron. You have a thumbs up for me already? I'm surprised. I would kill Charlie Sheen, and I would F Matthew Ferris.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe I'd switch those two around. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So Charlie Sheen's character looks gross and dirty and smelly, so I don't really want to get intimate with him. That's my thought process on that. What did you think I would say?
I think you're going to kill Ferris, marry Cameron, and F druggie.
Oh, so you got married, right?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Oh God, I didn't even think of that. Oh, God. Probably the same.
Yeah.
Of what I said for you. Yeah. I just can't. Ferris, I just couldn't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to marry Ferris. I don't think I would. I mean, he's cute and charming or whatever, but I wouldn't want to be with him all the time.
Yeah. I guess maybe I would go with you, what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. All right, so I have a question for you. And so here's my question. Which of the following couples do you think has the best chance of a long-term successful relationship?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. So your choices are Ferris and Sloane.
Okay.
The Jennifer Grey, Charlie Sheen pairing.
Okay.
I forget their names. Or Cameron and his father.
Okay.
Do you have an answer?
I do.
Oh, should I write? I forget.
I trust that you have an idea in your mind that what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Okay.
I do think the Jennifer Grey and the Charlie Sheen characters would probably figure it out and have the longest, happiest relationship. I can't. Ferris, as soon as he graduates from high school, I mean, he was already flirting with the girls on the lounge chairs, and and he was already riddled with like what's going to happen next year when when she's starting senior year. They're doomed. I think.
It's definitely like a high school relationship thing.
Cameron and his dad, it's not going to happen. I mean, and if it does happen, it might happen 20 years from 20 years later, but it's not happening now. So yeah, I do think because I think they're Jennifer Grey's character. What's her name?
I know, I can't think of it either.
Oh my God, it's awful. And him, I feel like they're both very they try and be no nonsense. And I think he made her learn things about herself. So I think I subscribe to that relationship the most.
I think you might be right too. I agree. I mean, I think you might be right. I have to get the music. Sorry. I agree that I think that they like, because they understand each other on a certain level, I think.
Yeah.
There was something I was going to tell you. Oh, you know what I wanted to tell you? It has nothing to do with the movie. I had a nightmare last night that we did this and I forgot to record. And we had to like re-record an entire episode. It was such a
I don't know
nightmare.
how people do that.
I don't
Because so
either.
much of this is just organic and like new and fresh. It's like oh my god, that because it will happen. We have to resign
It
ourselves.
probably will happen at some point.
Going to
A
happen
recording
at
will
some
be
point.
ruined or something. But I don't even think that I would revisit. I think it would be like, all right, well, that's done. I have to move on. Because I've said all there is to say. And I mean, this is actually quite like exhausting. I mean, it's as enjoyable as it is. It's a lot of thinking and a lot of talking. And it's like, by the time I'm done, I'm like, oh, I gotta not speak for like a half hour.
And truly, and I'm not complaining, but like we're doing these more frequently now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still working, like, right. You know, I'm working from home, but I'm still working a lot. And it's like it is a bit of a commitment. And if we had ever forgotten to press record, I agree with you. I'd be like, oh well, forget it.
Yeah, too much.
Let's watch
so much for that movie. Episode.
I'm glad we agree on that. Oh my god. Well, this is good though.
Yes. And is that going? Oh my god, I'm sorry. The music is like something today. All right, here we go. All right, so that's it for today's episode of Old Roommates. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And if you have a question or a comment, we are available at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. Anything to add?
No, that's it. Just, listen, keep social distancing, stay home, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.